Pink Poodle Crafts, join the Poodle Pack. It's time to get creative and make you laugh. Make your own art today. Pink Poodle Crafts is the way.
What a good boy.
Hey crafty family, it's me. And today we are going to make a journal cover out of a little golden book. Yeah, we're going to do that. But we're going to do something a little different than what I've seen online. I've seen like all types of videos of people taking the, taking the pages out, keeping as much of the integrity of the book as they can. However, there's one thing that I haven't seen, that every time I watched a video, I was actually looking for somebody that did this, and I have not found anybody that did this. And I was like surprised because it seemed so simple to me that I didn't understand why nobody else thought of it or did it. So I always see people take the book apart and then, they have different ways of taking it out because it's stapled here and here. So I have, they take the staples out, whatever. But, the one thing about a little golden book, and of course this is a Christmas edition, so it's red, but the spine is the most like iconic thing about a little golden book, is the usually metallic gold spine, but in this case it's metallic red because it's a Christmas book. But I never see anybody kind of like try to make it so that, this is showing when they actually bind it, if that makes sense. So I came up with a method to do just that. So here's a journal. And if you look here, it's bound with keeping this intact as much as possible. And it looks pretty good. I mean, obviously it's not perfect because, like I said, there is staples in there that you have to kind of dig out. But I thought that, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for somebody that was doing something like this, and I did not see anybody. So I just decided to do it myself. And that's the inside. So I'm going to show you how I did that, at least the cover part. And then I will be doing the inside and decorating it because obviously all the pages come out intact and, they're folded so you can easily bind them back into the journal after you add other things to it. So I'm going to show you how I did this, my version of the little golden book, altered little golden book, basically, how to start by making the cover. And then I'm not sure, we're just going to do this part for this video, and I am going to be turning this into a journal. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in a live stream yet or make another video on how I add the pages, because it's going to be pretty standard at that point, because obviously at that point then you can just punch your holes in your journal and string it however you want, just like a normal book cover, no different. So that pretty much most people know how to do. So the first thing you do with the book is you fold back the first cover and you start you take like a screwdriver is like the best, like a flathead screwdriver. It doesn't have to be this small. It could be a little bigger. It's probably easier if it's a little bigger. And the staples, you can tell where the staples are if you just like look at the book on an angle, like where you'll see where the little lumps are. So around that area is where you want to put the staple, the thing in, and just kind of twist it and push a little bit and kind of get it loosened up and like get under there as much as you can, and do it there. Now, as far as the staple, the outside of the staple is right here. And basically, since I want to keep this intact, I'm going to take a razor blade, which I should have had prepared. And so what I want to do is I want to not necessarily take this out, because here's the thing. If I take the staple out, I have to cut here and on this side to get the staple out, because this is the flat side of the staple and this is where the little things fold over, is on the back side. But I found that all you have to do is take a pair of wire cutters, and if you have the kind that are like flush wire cutters, like these, where they have like a more flush kind of surface, you can get right down to the thing, and you don't have to physically take the whole staple out in that case. So on the back side, because if you look at my book, this would be obviously the back side. Not that it matters that much which part has the thing in it, but see, I was a little messy on this one, but I knew for this one I could make it a little neater than that. To glue it back on, the little piece that comes off of that metallic part. So I thought, well, if I take a razor to it and just kind of, you know, go along where the staple is, I probably won't make as much of a mess with it. Let me get my glasses on here. It probably won't be such a pain in the butt if I take a razor to it and just kind of put a slice next to the thing and maybe make a little flap if I have to, and try to be a little neater about it, because I like, you know, I like the idea of keeping the integrity of this, and that's what always bothered me, and not bothered me, I mean, everybody has their own way of doing things, but like it just was like every time I watched a video about altering one of these books, and I've never done it before but wanted to, and every time I would see a video, I would always see them covering the spine and just putting a piece of lace across it and like making their own, you know, spine or whatever, and like completely not even worrying about this and not caring about it. And I always thought to myself, oh man, I would love to find a video that they were keeping the integrity of it instead. So I'm gonna do this towards the back, because this is where, if you do it right underneath, you see it's the staple is starting to pop up as I do that. So I made the little slit, so now the staple can pop right up, see? And of course, you know, it's obviously going to rip right here, but hopefully I can just glue it right back down. So I got that one up, and like I said, I'm just going to cut them off. I'm just kind of, if you just put I mean, you don't even have to start at the top, at the front cover, honestly. Just start right from the back cover. Stick it right in between where like the stapler would be, like right in the middle of the staple, and just twist, and it'll just start popping up. And then all you got to do, because you've got that little slit that you cut, is just pop up like that. See, now we've got this little flap that we can glue back. Now that one came out nicer. And you want it to get it straight up. There we go. This one's not quite as neat, but it'll be fine. So once we get the staples nice and straight up in the air, because it'll be easier to cut them, now the book is basically easy. All you do is pull it, and voila, the staples come out. And look at that. The staples came out, and here are your pages, and they will come out as well. Just work them a little bit. Here we go. And voila. And there's our staples sticking up right here, and we did not have to do anything to this part of the spine. So obviously the little bit of a spine that is in this book, even with it like this, is, you know, you could, if you just wanted to leave it like this, right? So, and maybe I'll do this since I did the, well, I'll do it like this time. Maybe if, you know, I'll do another video on leaving it like this, because I thought of this with the other one as well, but I wanted to show you how to widen it, because this one, obviously, I put an extension in to make it a wider journal. So if I left it like this, all I would have to do at this point, obviously, is I'm going to cut the staple off. I might as well do that now. Taking these flush wire cutters right to the base and pushing down and popping them staples right up, or, you know, right off. Getting them as close as I can, so I don't have to try to dig the staple out completely. It's not, no point. Okay, now, something I will say is, If I feel right here, it's a little rough. What I did was I took my little ball peen, is it what it's called? A ball peen hammer? I don't know. I took this thing and a piece of, where's my little piece of wood? I'm not very prepared. Never am. I'm not going to do it on my desk because this is a glass top. And so I'm going to put it on the floor on my lap. And what I'm going to do is just give it a few pounds. I'll just do it like that because it's fine. Just give it a few pounds, not very much, because you don't want it to like pop up like on here too much. Like it does a little bit, but you don't want it to like really pop up much. You're just trying to like bang it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, just a little bit. And then that'll take it. Like it doesn't take much. And then it's smooth. So just a little bit. And you'll see it'll kind of define the staple a little bit up here. But I don't care about that as long as it doesn't rip it. So that's all you got to do is take a little hammer and just kind of give it a quick little pound. That will fix that. So now your staple is basically gone. So if you wanted to make this into a journal that obviously isn't bent like that, but like this, you would just have to fill this in with a piece of chipboard. And basically this is, the cover itself is basically the same as this piece of chipboard here. This is like a 50-point chipboard. I sell this in my Zibbit store. Link is below. And all you have to do is just, you know, cut a piece to go right in the center. And then that should make it so that it doesn't do that anymore and that it does this and gives you that spine. That's all you'll need is to glue that in there with the little aliens. Then you like fully have a golden book spine. So that's one way to do it. If you just want this to be a, what is this, like an 1.25 inch spine? Yeah. If you want like an 1.25 inch spine, then that's, you know, if you're just going to do two, you know, either 2 thick signatures or 3 very small, you know, thinner signatures, which this is perfectly fine for a journal. You know, this is, you know, perfectly adequate, 1.25 inch. But if you want to make a more thick spine like this, which this one is 1 inch and like not almost 1 3/4 inches, not quite. Almost 1 3/4 inches. So if you want a thicker spine, you're going to do something else, which I'm going to show you. So this is an easy way to do it, where you just fill this place spot in. And if that doesn't work by filling that in, which I think it will, I haven't done it yet, but that's, you know, that's one of the things I'm going to do. But for this one, I'm going to show you how to do it like I did the other one. I have another one I could do this too. So if that doesn't work for some reason, though, when you just fill in with a piece of chipboard in there, then you could just fill it in and then take another piece of chipboard this size and just completely cover this whole wide piece in here if you need to. But I think that will be fine if you cover the inside there. I don't think that there'll be any issues with that. So that's a way to keep the integrity. But if you're like me and want to make it wider for some reason, then what you're going to need to do is cut this. And you're going to cut off this section in the middle that is not connected to the board. So you can do it with a razor blade, which I don't know if my razor is quite sharp enough, but I can try. Yeah. And just cut. And voila, there's your spine. Now you can keep this and that little flap and further utilize that, but I'm not going to. It'll be kind of uneven. So I'm just going to cut it off in this case, just to have it be kind of neaterized. And here is where I'm going to retape down the damage that was done from me getting the staple out of the backside. So I'm just going to take this flap, which kind of came off when I cut that thing off, and I'm just going to glue it back on. Easy peasy. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but at least it'll be a lot less noticeable than if you left it off, you know. And just give it a little pressing. There you go. This one didn't completely fall off, which is good, but here, put a little glue in there for that. And just, you know, basically do a little plastic surgery to reconstruct its, and then just make sure there's no glue on it. Reconstruct its beautiful beautiness. And that's it. And easy as that. Now you got your two covers. And so now what we want to do is we want to widen this. So since right now with just this, like this, it's an inch. That little piece, that little strip in the middle was a 1/4 inch. So this is an inch. So let's say I want it to be an 1.5 inches or an 1 3/4 inches. What I would do is if this is an inch, then that means I need to do an inch plus however much more I want it to be, because the piece of chipboard I'm going to cut is going to go on this flap and cover that flap. So if I want this spine, that is, if it's like this, at an inch, if I want it to be, let's say, an 1 3/4 inches, then I have to add 3/4 of an inch to this spine. So I'm going to do an inch, and then I'm going to add 3/4 to it. So an inch to cover this part, and then 3/4 to make it wider. So I'm going to cut an 1 3/4 inches on that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my cutter. And I'm going to cut a strip that is an 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so there's our 1 3/4 inches. And now, move all this out my way. I don't need those anymore. Put those away. Now, we're going to measure how tall we need this to be. Where'd it go? There it is. Excuse you. So that it's the same height as the book. Where's my pencil? I always lose pencils. I'm like a walking disaster. Is it just me? Or, I mean, please tell me somebody else is a walking disaster and not just me. Because I am literally like a walking, there it is, a walking disaster area. Okay, so then we need to cut it right there so that it will then be the exact size of the spine, hopefully. Perfect. Okay, so now, why am I getting an upset stomach? Leave it to me to get an upset stomach while I'm trying to film a video. Nice. So now our spine is going to be this wide, which, oh, I was supposed to cut the, yeah, no, it's not going to be this wide. It's going to be, put this on top of here, and then put it on top of here. Okay, I was going to say, now it's going to be that wide, which is an 1 3/4 inches. So now what I'm going to do is, but if I just cover this and stick this on here and glue it and just go, okay, that's it, that's ugly. And since this is a Christmas book, I figure I will take a Christmas tissue, and because it's tissue paper, I can luckily just cover it with some freaking glue stick, and that's all I need. So I'm just going to make myself a little thing where I can easily just wrap this around and cover my little spine piece with some pretty red Christmas tissue, because why not? You're not really going to see too much of it anyway. So let's see, I'm going to do, and if you use an extreme glue stick, the Elmer's Extreme, that works really well for stuff like this. And it'll make it a lot smoother than if you just use Mod Podge or Aleene's or something. The tissue will likely wrinkle more. But if, wrinkling of tissue does not bother me any. I don't know about you, but it doesn't bother me if it wrinkles. So I'll put that on and then stick this over here. And then flip it over and smooth it out. And then I'm going to put this over and just kind of get that to behave itself here. Going to put the glue. Just kind of like any kind of wrapping of anything with paper. Obviously, you guys can figure that out. Not such a hard thing. I'll probably cut off what I don't need on the top here. And what I don't need over here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't even have to go as overboard as I am. Really, I only need one side covered. I don't need the side that's going to be facing out. I only need the side that's going to be facing in because I'm going to cover this, but whatever. I'm already halfway done, or, well, maybe I won't bother. Maybe I'll just do this rather than waste everybody's time by covering the whole thing, which is not necessary. I want to make sure you know that it's not necessary because it really is not necessary to cover the whole thing. Just one side, and that's just the side that's going to be in the middle because we're going to do something else with the side. Whoops. With the side, the other side. So fold that over. And we can do a little angled cut so that we can just fold this over so that the top chipboard doesn't show when you look at the top of the book, kind of. Voila. There we go. Voila. Voila. All done. That was easy. All right, need a baby wipe because now my hands are sticky because I touched the glue stick. And my desk is sticky. We don't like a sticky desk. And we're going to dry it. Okay. So, now we've got our spine piece that we are going to glue on the inside here with some Aleene's glue and on the inside here with some Aleene's glue. Very, very easy peasy, nothing to it. Hopefully this has made sense so far. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only person on the planet. And obviously you want to you don't want to put it into that little crease, the glue. You just want to put it, everywhere but that crease. Don't put it in the book crack. And really, honestly, you didn't even have to hammer. If you're going to do it this way, you don't even have to hammer the staples down because it's going to get covered. So you're not going to feel any kind of scratchiness from it. If you're going to do the other way that I was showing you, you would have to, but not if you're doing it this way. So now this is the part you just got to make sure that your spine piece, your journal only has to open like straight, or close, straight like this, but I just make sure it can bend, a little slightly that way, not very much because it's going to push this out and then it's going to be weird. So just want it to be able to go straight and just over a little so it does not make a issue for our little book. But, I was really wanting to make one of these altered golden books, but I just was like confused. I was like, why isn't there a way to make it so that the golden spine shows? And obviously I'll do this with a regular golden book as well after Christmas, but right now, since Christmas is here and I've got a couple Christmas golden books, why not? I thought it don't matter. But, the little golden book spines are that's the signature. That's the iconic, you know, thing. So see, I just want it to meet in the middle like a little teepee and be fine with that and not be weird. So if that's how, and then I just let it fall, make sure there's no glue oozing anywhere. And then, you know, you would let this dry. You could even clamp it right here, let it dry. And then we could deal with this. I'm going to try to be careful that it doesn't squish around because I want to show you how to fix this now, which I have to make sure I'm even here because I might have cut that piece a little bit too long. Not too bad. Let me make sure I'm still good here. Okay. All right. So now we've got what you can see is like a little gully in here, like this little gully. And like I said before, it's the same size gully as, well, where'd the chipboard go? There it is. As a 50-point piece of thick chipboard. 50 point is the thickness, you know, is what it is. So what I'm going to do, I'll just screw that up. Make sure I didn't. No. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, just like before, I'm going to cut a piece of chipboard to go into the center of that. And I believe I did use a piece of that, right? Yes. Okay. So this is that really, really hard kind of chipboard. Like I said, I have it in my store if you were interested. And I'm going to line this up, mark it, and cut it. And you may have to do some adjusting because sometimes when you go to put it in there, it doesn't fit perfect. Other times it will. If you use a razor blade when you cut off that little strip here, it will keep it much straighter than if you use scissors. But sometimes you have to finagle it a little bit. So it's possible that it, you know, I may have to like trim it with the scissors a little bit in areas because it might not fit perfect. But maybe we'll luck out, so we'll see. I have to do it over here. So we will see if I luck out and am able to make it so that I don't have to do that. Let's find out. Let's see if this fits in there nice. Look at that. Ha! Fits in there like perfect, like butter. All right. Yeah. So then, once you line that up how you want it, you're obviously going to find your pencil that you lost. If you're anything like me, knock everything over on your desk in the meantime. And then cut off the excess on that so that it fits nice and snug. Make sure that that's perfect. Yep. Okay. So now, just like we did before, we're going to glue this in with our aliens. Oops. And try not to make a complete mess, as I do, because I'm a messy crafter sometimes. But I'm like putting it all by the little sides there. If you get glue on your little metallic edge, you can just make sure you wipe it off. So that you don't have, you know, weird glue spots on your pretty metallic edge that you worked so hard to keep intact. That would suck. I'm putting lots of glue. And then I'm going to put in my piece, and if it oozes, it's fine. I will clean it up, which it probably will ooze. But I'm going to press it in place first, get everything neaterized, and then I'm going to wipe excess glue away from, especially from the metallic part of the spine, because that part's the important part. That's what we want to have look nice. Nice. Okay. So there we go. But then you're like, well, wait a minute. It looks stupid. Well, that's where you get a piece of metallic red paper. And if you don't have that and have no access to that, use any red paper or any kind of paper. You can use silver if you want the silver, like, you know, or whatever. It doesn't, just use whatever you think will match or anything. You know, you want something that matches this, you can do something that matches something on the cover, like these little pine trees. If you have a piece of decorative paper that has like green pine trees, whatever, you could do whatever you want. I like to use the metallic paper because I got this. Now, is it a perfect match with this metallic red? No, it's not perfect, but guess who doesn't care? Me, because I still think it looks cute. Now, there's enough room. There's enough space after you put this in for that piece of paper so that it actually looks really nice when you do it. The camera probably didn't pick that up. So what I'm going to do is, once again, measure out a piece of these. And we're going to try and make it nice and neat. And hopefully get a nice straight cut that will not be a hot mess. That needs to go over just a tad, right? Hopefully this is straight and cut straight. Okay, now, or you could put like a silver sparkle or a red sparkle. That would work nice too. In fact, that might be an idea. Do I want to switch to a red sparkle? I don't know. Well, I should do it this way since this is the way that I showed you on the thing. So now here's where you're going to make sure everything fits in there nice and snug. And that it's not too big, too tall, too short, too something. So like this is just like the, let's see, is it fine? Is it sticking out? It is such a tiny hair sticking out, but not even worth it. It's so little. But I will give it the slightest little tiny trim. Like I'm talking like in little millimeter trim. There we go. Okay. Like it was such a small amount. It was ridiculous. And then we're just going to put more Aleene's glue. Just going to be a little more careful with it because we don't want it to go too much all over the place, even though you can wipe it pretty easily. So, and we're going to put this on, and then we'll be done with our cover. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's almost impossible not to make a mess with this glue. This is Aleene's I put in this type of bottle because it's just easier to squeeze than the big bottles because I have arthritis and, you know, pain in the arse to do that. So I'm just going to make sure it's not all over the place. And try to get this nice and lined up in the middle. Like I said, it's, you know, not the perfect color of red, but I think it makes, you know, you get the idea. In other words, if somebody sees it, they're going to be like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I think, anyway. I could be blowing my own horn, and nobody probably cares. But, you know, it's what I like. You might not like it, but I like it. And you know what? It's my channel and I like it. And it's what I wanted. So there you go. That is your spine for your book. It keeps the integrity of the little golden book, you know, metallic spine, gold or red. And it also adds your nice, you know, adds some space to make a nice, you know, fat journal. Yeah. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you'll give it a try, because obviously you're going to let it dry now. And after it dries, then you can do your punching, your hole punching, you know, your signatures or whatever. And put your journal in just like you normally would, however you want to do it. And you don't have to cover up anything on the cover, because like I see people and they'll wrap the fabric around to hide the spine. And like it takes away some of your cover, and you know, I don't want to do that. I want to keep the cover looking nice. I don't want it to be half wrapped around. I mean, you know, it's fine if you like that. And I do normally on most things, but because of the fact that there is a graphic on the front and you've got the metallic golden iconic spine, and I don't really want to cover those. I want them to be visible. I don't know, call me crazy. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Also, I have links in the description. So if you just scroll down a little bit past the video and hit show more, like it'll say show more, and it'll pop open all the links. And I have links to my Facebook group. We have an awesome Facebook group. I have a Zibbit store, and I sell the chipboard and all kinds of craft supplies at really low prices. I have stencils that are like $2.75. I have dies that are like $3 something. Like I have everything very, very low price. You probably won't find a place to get craft supplies cheaper than that in the United States. So check out my Zibbit store. The link, like I said, is below. And in the month of December, if you use the coupon code HOLIDAY10 when you check out, you will get 10% off of your entire order. So as long as you spend $10, if you spend $10 or more, you'll get 10% off your entire order. So yeah, so definitely check out my store. And I also, like I said, have links to my group. I have a Patreon. So if you want to support my channel and also see my live streams that are private, because I have private live streams where we do crafting, we work on journals, we, you know, chit chat, have a good time, and work on stuff for hours and hours at a time and just have fun. And you know, if you can't make one of the live streams, you can watch the recording. So you'll have access to all of that if you check out my Patreon, which is also linked below. So yeah, lots of links below to check out. And yeah, if you like this idea, give me a comment below and let me know what you think of my idea to keep the integrity of that. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's stupid? Sound off. Let me know. I'd be interested in knowing. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. Make sure you do what you love and love what you do, and be nice to people. And I will talk to you later. Bye.